In today's episode of the social media program, we're talking about images, and these are images that do not belong to you, that you have not created. So let's talk about the rules of that, because this can get you into a lot of hot trouble as well. Images that you do not create and you're just pulling from online, you have to be very careful on when you're sourcing that. Some images that you can purchase, and when you purchase it, you want to retain the license to use that photograph, and other things it's royalty free. One of the services that we use as a free service, it's called Pixabay. I'll put a link in the video description for that. You can sign up for a free membership for that, and then you can download what you would like to do. A lot of the hosts that are providing that, so a regular Joe Blow like you and I can actually provide images for that, where other people can download as well. And you're also able to alter those photos depending on the photo. What you need to watch for the most is when you're using a photo for personal use and commercial use. If you are doing any kind of monetization, or you're making money from the usage of that photograph, and that's even in the background of a video that you are doing, or in imagery on any of the social media posts where you're going to get paid as a result of it, then that is considered commercial. So if it says personal use only and you download it and you were using it for a purpose like this where it's been monetized, then you are at default for breaking the rules. So to say that you don't know that, a lot of that stuff is very clear. Make sure that you read the terms and services. Those kind of things can have a copy strike against you on the different social media platforms. And again, once you start that ball rolling where they realize that one of your content pieces has imagery that is not allowed, it doesn't take a rocket science to go say, well, you know, what about something else, and what about something else? And you can snowball yourself into a business collapse in that way. So you got to make sure that you play by the rules. I would also recommend that things that you need to pay attention to the most is anything that is a registered trademark. You don't want to mess with Disney. You don't want to mess with Teams or anything like that without authorization. One of the things that we have as a result of our relationship with yarnspirations.com is that we have a blanket authorization to use any of their content, also to be able to alter some of their patterns, to be able to just teach it in my own way. That has all been legally allowed because I have the authorization to do that. But if somebody else coming in to do the exact same thing without that authorization, it would be considered an illegal move. So you got to make sure that you have that legal authority to be able to use photographs and anything like that from different sources. It doesn't take much to reach out to a company to ask for permission. Most times it's in their benefit if you are suggesting them, but they're not obviously going to use, you're not obviously going to be able to use their imagery if you're going to throw them under the bus. You are in public space for most start points, so if you wanted to complain about a location and you took a photograph of your own outside of that location, technically you could do that, and that's not a thing because you are the owner of that particular piece of content. But if you're going to download it from another source and it's not your own, and somebody recognizes that, you have to realize that all these computer systems have the ability to check photographs with each other to find the original source. You're starting to see that more and more on Twitter these days, where the same photograph has been altered to make the person look like they did something that they didn't do, maybe a shirt holding some material and everything. And then there is literally a warning underneath saying this picture has been altered. So we're seeing that more and more because we're getting more and more deeper into the idea of AI, where AI has the ability to do that. So if you are going to use those kind of resources, you got to make sure that you keep it legal and to keep it straight. Just because you can download it from the internet does not mean that it's free for you to use. You got to make sure that the source that you're downloading it from is somebody that you're allowed to use it from. I have a great relationship with Sarah from Repeat Crafter Me, where I can download her images, remake the thumbnails, and put it back onto my website to suggest her. But because I do that, and I'm always recommending her, I'm giving her the traffic back, so it's a win-win in this position. But if I was to complain about maybe Kentucky Fried Chicken and I downloaded one of their images and then I used it and I talk negatively about the store, you know, I could be in violation of a copyright because I have used their images versus me taking my own photographs. You have to make sure also when you're using photographs that children are extra sensitive on using photographs. You got to make sure that the people in the background have your written consent. when you're doing that, written or verbal consent or recorded consent. When I was filming at the yarn company on showing how yarn was made, the rule was that I was not allowed to show any employees in the background. And so because it's a violation of personal privacy to show that that person actually works at that location. And so you got to make sure that your background, like you see here, is clear of anything that is maybe in violation. Now, if you're in a public space and you are doing things, people are in a public space and you can record, but just be conscientious of people's privacy. Some people should be at work and they're not, and they're got caught in a video and behind, and they can get in a lot of hot water. So you got to be very respectful. It does not take much to be able to turn the camera to get a background image that is more suitable and easier to manage, and then therefore you don't have to worry about copyright permissions. So there's a lot of great things that you can do with photographs and to use them as thumbnails, and a lot of great things. Sometimes they're worth purchasing, and that is just my take on images. So just be very careful and make sure that you're using a source that is legal.